Good evening, distinguished invitees, ladies and gentlemen. You're about to witness the 77th annual sessions of the Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science, the premier organization of scientists in Sri Lanka. Founded in 1944 as a Ceylon Association of Science, the premier body of scientists became the Ceylon Association for the Advancement of Science in 1951. This year, the sessions are held under the theme Science and Technology for a Better Tomorrow. So you can already see that the guest of honor, Dr. Rohan Pallewatha, has just arrived, and you can see the ceremonial procession entering the hall. May I kindly request you to please stand as the procession enters the hall. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the traditional lighting of the oil lamp will take place. I had the pleasure in inviting the following distinguished persons for this purpose. Professor Kapila C.K. Pereira, Secretary to the Ministry of Education, who is our chief guest today. Dr. Rohan Pallewatha, Executive Chairman, Lankahanas Private Limited, who is the guest of honor today. Professor Sumedha Jayanethi, the General President of SLAAS. Professor Manoj Krishantha Veerasinghe, General President-elect of SLAAS. General Secretaries, Dr. Chintaka De Silva and Dr. Rushan Abegunawardana. The Treasurer of SLAAS, Dr. Jivanta Premaratna, and Dr. Henry B. Thoop, the astronomer and scientist from NASA headquarters, Washington, who is one of our theme seminar speakers for tomorrow. Thank you very much indeed. And may I kindly request everyone to remain standing for the national anthem while I take the pleasure in inviting the following distinguished persons to the head table. Professor Kapila Pereira, Dr. Rohan Pallevatha, Professor Sumedha Jayanetti, Professor Manuj Veerasinghe, followed by the General Secretaries Dr. Chintaka De Silva and Dr. Rushan Abegunawardana. To begin the day's proceedings, let's pay our respects to our motherland. Ladies and gentlemen, let us now sing the national anthem.
Sri Lanka Mata, Upper Sri Lanka, Namo.
Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, to formally deliver the welcome address, now I would like to invite Professor Sumedha Jayanetti, General President of the Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science.
Good evening. Chief Guest, Professor Kapila Pereira, Secretary, Ministry of Education, Dr. Rohan Paliwatta of Lanka Harness, the guest of honor, General Secretaries, General President-elect, Professor Manoj Veerasinghe, Dr. Henry Throop, past General Presidents, the Vice Chancellors, Deans, other special guests, members of the Council, ladies and gentlemen. I have to say that it is an honor and a privilege to speak in front of you as the General President, 80th General President, to welcome you to the 77th annual sessions of the Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement, of which the inauguration is today. We have been having a very challenging year, and almost, I think, entire year was lost in the pandemic. Yet, we managed to conduct a number of scientific activities over the past several months. And starting from tomorrow, we have our biggest event, that is the annual sessions of Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science, which has so many activities starting from tomorrow, a theme seminar, a FITI conference, a mini symposium, technical sessions, and presidential addresses. So, on this occasion of the inauguration of the annual sessions, I would like to warmly welcome Professor Kapila Pereira, the chief guest, Dr. Rohan Paliwatta, the guest of honor, then the past general presidents, Dr. Henry Throop. He will be delivering his lecture tomorrow at the theme seminar. Thanks for being here. And all the distinguished invitees, special invitees, members of the council, and the staff of the SLAAS, including our general secretaries and the staff at the office. So I hope that this event would be a success, and I wish you all a very good evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to facilitate the felicitations from the sister associations who will join us online. So first, we have a felicitation coming our way from the Indian Science Congress Association from Professor Vijay Lakshmi Saxena, who is its General President.
A very good morning to you all present here for this annual meet. Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. Respected General President, Professor Sumedha Jayaneti, office bearers, guests, delegates, dear students, ladies and gentlemen, my sincere thanks to you all for providing me this unique opportunity for addressing at an annual conference of Sri Lankan Association for the Advancement of Science. The scientific deliberations at the conference and the local hospitality provided to us by the organizers always impressed me. The focal theme of SLAAS is Science and Technology for a Better Tomorrow, which is very much relevant in the current scenario. Human beings are having an imagination for their future lifestyle and always trying to make it healthy and wealthy. The only method to achieve it is the sustainable development through science and technological advancement. So, I feel that sharing of global scientific and technological achievements on a common platform is utmost important to fulfill not only individual aspirations but for whole nation to provide better tomorrow. Development for a better tomorrow of any country can be achieved only by capacity building, invest in training the next generation, ensure access to information, strengthen the scientific basis of decision making, and educating the public. Education in science and technology is crucial for long-term economic development and for the future of its scientific institutions like industry health, agriculture, infrastructure, etc. Scientists throughout the world have been working hard to innovate and invent in each field of science and technology so that each and every person can have a better tomorrow. Science and technology is a product of human brain, but it is also driven by the compassion of human heart, the desire to make better tomorrow for human existence in a better way. Science plays an important part by providing latest update facilities for a better tomorrow. We understand that scientists of India and Sri Lanka are working effectively to translate their research to combat different obstacles faced by the people of this region. Science and technology also removing national barriers unify the world for a better tomorrow. It can bring nations in a shared effort to address global challenges. Since independence in 1947, Indian Science Congress has been actively represented by different foreign scientific academies with the view to have first-hand knowledge on topics of interest. SLAAS has been collaborating for the last several years. The participation of scientists from both the countries at the annual conference of the respective association is always remaining helpful in the development of collaborating program between the scientists of India and Sri Lanka. So I feel that sharing of global scientific achievements on a common platform is utmost important to fulfill not only individual aspirations but for whole world to provide better tomorrow. The Indian Science Congress Association was established 110 years back. I would like to inform you that due to COVID pandemic globally, 108th session of Indian Science Congress, which was scheduled to be held in January 2021, has been shifted to 3rd to 7th January 2023. The focal theme of 108th session is Science and Technology for Sustainable Development with Women Empowerment. We expect an active participation of scientists from Sri Lanka at this meeting. Lastly, on behalf of the organizing committee and my own behalf as the General President, I would like to cordially invite all of you to participate in the annual celebrations of Indian Science Congress. I invite especially General President Professor Sumedha Jaineti and all the participants during 3rd to 7th January 2023 at the 108th session of Indian Science Congress. I thank General President and office bearers for giving me an opportunity to share my views with you all. I wholeheartedly extend my good wishes for the grand success of annual session of SLAAS. Thank you one and all.
Thank you. And now we have felicitations from the Malaysian Scientific Association, where Dato' A. Aziz Mat, the General President, will address us.
Greetings to Professor Dr. Sumedha Jayaneti, General President of the Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science, SLAAS, and all the council members, and all participants of the annual sessions of the SLAAS 2021. I come to understand that the theme of this year's seminar is Science and Technology for a Better Tomorrow. Science and technology are the basis for creativity and innovations. They make the world for a better place to live. With the current pandemic, all researchers all over the world are working hard to protect our health with new development of vaccines to fight the COVID-19. May Almighty protect us all. My name is Dato' Aziz Mat, President of Malaysia Scientific Association, and our council members, and all the scientific and technology community in Malaysia wish all the very best in your deliberation during this seminar. May the outcome of this seminar benefit all the human beings for a better world. Please stay safe. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you very much. And now we have Dr. Mahesh Kumar Adhikari, the General Secretary of the Nepal Academy of Science and Technology.
Namaste, Honorable Minister for Science, Technology and Innovation, Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Sumedha Jayaneti, Professor Mayuri B.A. Singhe, distinguished scientists and respected personalities, ladies and gentlemen, On behalf of Nepal Academy of Science and Technology and myself, I feel great honor for your invitation to participate by an audio-visual technology in this August gathering of SLAAS 2021. On this occasion, I congratulate the organizer for this program through recent advancement in science and technology. Though we are not physically present, but it provides us a ground for long friendship and mutual understanding between distantly placed countries in the globe. I think the month of December is the harmonious and beautiful season in Sri Lanka, where many people can enjoy enchanting beauty and blessings of nature. The theme selected, Science and Technology for a Better Tomorrow, reflects a critical vision for betterment of science, society, and country for the future generation. It is well known that Sri Lanka is a golden land and hope to remain forever, where many people, many interesting natural resources with rare plants are still alive and preserved. In my view, Sri Lanka, encircled with deep ocean on all sides, provides an enchanting beauty with interesting, pleasant, beautiful, calm and quiet atmosphere where the researchers can learn diverse, discover and innovate scientific knowledge related to ocean, climatic change, bioenergy, utilizing natural energies, fauna and flora. Sri Lanka can itself develop modern technology related to science and technology with its well-learned researchers, scientists and innovators. The tropical climate zone is the God-gift boon to Sri Lanka to formulate and develop tropical medicine which is helpful to India and Nepal. As you know, many recent drugs of healthcare system have been invented from the medicinal plants. Moreover, you have rare ethnic groups who acquire the ancient traditional knowledge to utilize rural indigenous medicinal plants to cure and heal the prevailing diseases. The amalgamation of traditional and recent scientific knowledge may bring out some important innovation in healthcare system. On behalf of NASTA and myself, I extend my sincere, warm, cordial thanks to the President and Secretary of SLAAS for their kind effort. I spread my warm, cordial felicitations to all higher dignitaries and members of this great event. I wish all the success of the event and contribute and be a path to develop the country. Lastly, again, I congratulate SLAAS for conducting this valuable international science seminar. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, we have Professor Dr. Tasawa Hayat, the Secretary General of the Pakistan Academy of Sciences.
Dear Professor Sumedha Janati, General President, Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science. First of all, I, Professor Dr. Tasawa Hayat, Secretary General, Pakistan Academy of Sciences, wish to extend my heartfelt thanks to the organizers of the annual sessions of SLAAS 2021 for inviting Pakistan Academy of Sciences to send a message as a token of its virtual participation in this very important event, not only for the scientific community in Sri Lanka, but also for the scientific and technical minds in the region. Pakistan Academy of Sciences has been very actively participating in the SLAAS annual sessions before COVID-19, and I am deeply honored to be a part of this scientific forum on a topic of immense importance for the masses in the region. Today, the entire globe is witnessing the deadliest pandemic of our time and the need to develop all-time effective, covered, and similar pandemic-related vaccines. In minimum timeframes, speak of the importance for innovative advances in science and technology for a better tomorrow. In this scenario, I take the opportunity to congratulate SLAAS for choosing a very timely theme of science and technology for a better tomorrow for this forum, as the pandemic COVID-19 has proved that much more work is still required for countermeasures of possible pandemics worldwide. Finally, I am appreciative of the Sri Lanka Association for the advancement of science, for spearheading, sponsoring, and facilitating organization of the SLAAS 2021 Forum on Science and Technology for a Better Tomorrow and to promote knowledge-based economy for sustainable development. I am sure that on this last platform, the contributions of highly knowledgeable resource persons from within Sri Lanka and abroad will make this event a great success. I wish SLAAS an enlightening success and achievements in its endeavors, and I thank you all for your kind attention.
Thank you very much. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our chief guest today. Professor Kapila C.K. Pereira has served as Senior Professor, Dean, and the Vice Chancellor of the University of Moratuwa before taking up his current portfolio as a Secretary to the Ministry of Education. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that I invite Professor Kapila Pereira to deliver his address at the 77th Inauguration Ceremony of the Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science.
Thank you very much. Good evening to all of you. Ayubowan, Wanakam, Assalamualaikum. The chief guest today, Dr. Rohan Pallavatta, the senior professor, Professor Jayaneti, the current president of the Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science, with the Dean of the Faculty of Technology, University of Colombo, Professor Mrs. Janita Lianage, who held the office of the president last year. She is in Moscow. Professor Mr. M.C. Veerasinghe at the Medical Faculty of Colombo, who is proposed to be the post of president for the year 2022, and other distinguished officials and the members of the council of the SLAAS and who are joining online. At the outset, I add my heartfelt wishes for the every success of the 77th annual sessions of the Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science. This is on behalf of the Ministry of Education and all the students, 4.5 million, and all the university students who are numbering about 140,000, and all the distinguished academics, scientists, and researchers in this country. Indeed, I must say that it gives me immense pride and pleasure to have been invited as the chief guest of this event. Even if you may have given me this invitation not merely due to my caliber as a secretary to the Ministry of Education, but also as I have worked with you in the field of science and technology. However, I have to continue this discourse with you as one of the citizens entrusted with the responsibility of giving leadership and facilitating to build the future human resource of this country, which I think is a God-given, a gift that is bestowed on me as a product of free education, which I cherish every time and every moment. I will do my best, utmost best for that. I think I should express my view on how timely the theme, science and technology for better tomorrow. Although the term better tomorrow can be defined from many aspects, I suggest that healing the country with economic development, which is a major burning issue prevalent at present, no need to explain any further, can also be deemed as a better future. It's an opportunity. It's a challenge though, but it's an opportunity. I have given my interpretation in this way, owing to what I have to say at this juncture. Even though Sri Lanka has gradually marched forward from the status of a low middle income country to a level of high middle income country, we have slipped back to the level of a lower middle income country, that is represented in numbers US dollars 4020 according to the World Bank. The current epidemic scenario may have been a casual factor for the said circumstances. However, even if I am not an economist, I like to point out two factors that block us moving towards the high income level. The textile sector is a major mean of contributing foreign exchange to our economy. However, there is a question as to how far it will help expand the economy. The limited availability of workers for the garment sector, rising of their wages, and limiting the expansion of investments due to the availability of low wage workers in some countries such as Bangladesh have been a problem. Any of the high income country has not reached the said higher level of income from such a field of industry as apparel. Similarly, the migration of workers has been a relief during the past. However, as a country, we are not in a position to realize the status of high income country. In concern of the instability of the tourism industry within the current COVID pandemic circumstances, I like to see it as a restrictive factor for the progression of the future. You know, when the COVID-19 restrictions came, it's about 5 billion that we have been shut down. I like to see it as a restrictive factor once again for the progression of the future. The advancement of these sectors will be greatly vital as we can again become at least a high middle income country, though we may not become a high middle income country amidst those limitations. However, we have the question of what we need to do for being a high income country. Consequently, let me deliberate on the second point. It is something linked with our theme, science and technology. Our country has been classified as an economy based on simple products according to the economic complexity indices of the Harvard University. Yes, 98% of our export industries are under the classification of simple products. It reminded me of Dr. Pallavatta once I listened to him some time back. I'll refer to it later once I finish the simple innovations part. Those classified as simple products can be easily challenged by another competitor in the world market. Consequently, such industries get expanded in limited scope as their economic value is often reduced by the alternatives. Therefore, in economic perspective, we have less chance of being a high income country. Subsequently, it will be compulsory to reduce the 98% volume of simple products and replace it with complex products in our efforts to become a stable and high income country. So there may be many points of view on this straightforward points because we see differently and we perceive differently when ideas are expressed. Yes, right now we find the theme of our story important to us. The said change can be made only through science and technology and its related fields of researchers. I come here after an event of social sciences and humanities launching its websites for the centenary of science, the social sciences humanity. There also I related how important, how hand in hand science and social sciences and humanities go together. If so, those who have graduated here today, the Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Sciences, are the only people who can make that difference. Innovation is a subsequent inevitable word in science and technology today. Dr. Pallevatha, I will still wait until I finish that part. Because when I saw the invitation that he is the guest of honor, because I have a batchmate of mine who is also Pallevatha. I think he's also Rohan Pallevatha. I'm not sure though. This is the second time I was deceived. It is true, if we consider all top 20 highest income countries in the world, it is obvious that the said countries are also among the top 20 in the Innovation Index published by the WIPO or the World Intellectual Property Organization. Therefore, innovation in science and technology pave the way for higher revenues. However, what is to be clarified is about which innovations need to be made. Simple innovations are not adequate for those economic goals. Maybe he will challenge me on this one. Because irrespective of greatness of a simple innovation, it is hard to sustain its value as an innovation since its reality is quickly acquired by others. But we need to have strategies. And there are a lot of factors that contribute. As the complex innovations cannot be simply grabbed by anyone else and their economic value is high, a long-term sustainability and a higher value can be added to the economy by making such innovations. Accordingly, time has come for us to make complex innovations through science and technology definitely for a better future. So I am making these remarks in the today's context. So I am invited to deliver this speech. I think Professor Pulsonnadara and Professor Sudantas and all of you are in these complex innovations. What is most valuable herein is the fact that these high-income countries, which are in the top level of innovation indices, are also in the higher rank of education indices in the world. Its necessity is most evident once we look at our place in the World Innovation Index. Guess what? As per the report released by the WIPO in 2020, Sri Lanka is currently at the lowermost position as 101st place of the World Innovation Index. No matter in what viewpoint the future is pursued, it is required to formulate an education system that enables to create a human resource capable of doing innovations through science and technology. It is another real challenge that you need to join hands with me. What is seen as the fourth industrial revolution is our shift from the 20th century concept that says knowledge as the center for development to the 21st century concept that says innovation ability as the center for development. Therefore, I see it as a real challenge for us to direct our future human resource to withstand the changes in technology occurred through short periods of time, that is to adjust them to this change. Incidentally, I happened to interview principals this morning. One of the candidates, his theme is to create innovative children in one of the top leading schools. I don't want to mention the name. And I asked him how you are going to change. You can see where you can help Ministry of Education and us scientists and all the people who have networked in other countries, because we are here to create human resource which are innovative and creative. Preparations for this change is already underway in our newest education reforms, where we were discussing this morning with Professor Sudanta. We are anxiously waiting to see what innovative reforms that we are to bring, how apt it is for the present context. And my personal view was that you see you witness how all the associations of science are networked in the region as well as in the globe. But what lacks is the technology input for the gross mass of the social sciences and humanities, where there need a drastic change, drastic reforms. So the support of the institutions such as Sri Lanka Advancement for the Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science is required. I like to convey my gratitude to you for the exceptional works done by your association together with the Ministry of Education, even during the period of school closure due to the COVID pandemic or the epidemic. The workshops conducted through online method by Professor Banduni Athapattu and Dr. Kaumal in collaboration with the Science Division at the Ministry of Education to give soft skills for science teachers, teacher advisors for the subject of science and the officers are praiseworthy. So I remember at the, I think Batramulla, when he was inducted, I requested your cooperation in this regard, so you have delivered. That initiatives have guided them on the effective use of internet and online system, which is actually a timely need. Also, Professor Dharmadasa has conducted a pilot project called Little Agriculturalist together with Science Division through the Science Field Centers in Chilao and Kegol. Such programs witness that the contribution of this association has given continuously even amidst the adversity. As a secretary to the Ministry of Education, I like to extend my gratitude to all who contributed to this endeavor. Simultaneously, I request your service to make opportunities in the future also for the improvement of research and innovation skills in order to win the future world in science and technology in collaboration with the Ministry of Education. The extracurricular activities rather than the curriculum, such as co-curricular activities, often contribute to the increase of children's interest in science education and improvement and promotion of essential human skills in 21st century, such as their ability to logical thinking, leadership, creativity, innovation and collaboration, etc. So before I wind up, as I promised, when I came here, I was confused with Dr. Pallavatta. I thought he was my batchmate, but happened to be Dr. Rohan Pallavatta. I think it was at Boralaskamuo, where students invited me. There's one called Golden Rose or Gem Rose. And I missed that opportunity because Professor Dharmaratna's retirement, some party last week, I missed it because I had a function again at the BMICH. So therefore, I could not attend that one. What he mentioned was that he was in Japan. Father had sent on something like that. And then he observed what Toyota company or whatever it does. You know, the safety bags, airbags, the harness. How he was persistent sending this thing. And he found somebody in Homagama, I guess. And now how he had made the fortune of this one. I think I don't want to elaborate on this page. So how the simple little innovations, yet someone else cannot be copied. And true ingenuity can do. So it's an inspiration that you have invited him as the guest of today. He should have been the chief guest. I should have been witnessing this thing. Lastly, I convey my gratitude for the president and the organizing committee for inviting me to this distinct event and request you to continue your valuable contribution in liaison with us to donate science and technology for the children who are future generations of our country. I will wind up saying one other classic example where I happened to be the commissioner of the Inventors Commission. There was this Dhammika who came from, we were selecting people to showcase their products in Geneva. And he came for the interview. I was there at Navamavata. It's a small, very small room, cubicle. I was part-time. I heard this boy could not speak English. You can check this story. And he came, he had no video to show, to convince the judge panel that his product is the invention, the innovation is worthy of getting him selected to represent Geneva innovations competition. So you can check the driver Palitha. I sent him to Bingiri or somewhere, got it videotape, came, and it was coir fiber grading. And then usually, you know, when we were school children, and you have to settle it for 6 months, and his trick was to shorten it in time, the grades, and he won the WIPE award. WIPE award. That is one of the most coveted awards. And after that, he got 104 offers to make machines for India. This is Dhammika, who could not speak a word of English, where I happened to help. So we have products like, innovators like this. There are so many stories. So you have to go and hunt for people. So this is what science and technology can do for our country. Thank you very much. Have a pleasant evening. Nandri.
Thank you very much, Professor Pereira, for that insightful address. And next on the agenda is the first round of awards. Typically, the SLAAS awards are physically presented to each of the awardees, but similarly to last year, this year too, the award winners will not come on stage due to the restrictions imposed on us. But indeed, we do know that you're watching us online, as this ceremony is live streamed via the SLAAS webpage as well as the YouTube channel. And now, I would like to invite Professor Mahesh Jayavira to read out the list of awardees for the first set of SLAAS awards this year.
Imagination is more important than knowledge. The knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world. The true science of intelligence is not knowledge, but imagination, once said by Albert Einstein. Ladies and gentlemen, we are honored and privileged today to felicitate a bunch of great imaginators who have won distinctions in their career path, particularly in the areas of science and technology in 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor of announcing the names of awardees selected by the Science Education Committee, Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science. Little Agriculturalist Program, Sabaragamuwa Province. First place goes to BRM Sirivardhana of Kegal Division, Moravaka Kanishka Vidyalaya. The second place goes to ETPD Mahindadasa of Kegal Division, Kegalu Vidyalaya. And third place goes to KGDT Dasanayaka of Kegal Division, Kegalu Vidyalaya. Little Agriculturist Program, Northwestern Province. First place goes to TMYK Jayasuriya of Central Kurukura Sugatananda National School. Second place goes to LSR De Silva of Central Kurukura Sugatananda National School. And third place goes to IMA Chamalka Rukshanta of Central Senanayaka Mahavidyalaya, Manamperi. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor of announcing the names of awardees selected by the Section E2, Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science. Inter-School Chemistry Quiz Competition, Jaffna District. First place goes to Jaffna Hindu College. Names of the winners are Balendran Abiram, Nadesamurthy Sivamindan, Devanand Abiram, Arul Mori Harshan, and Kanan Bavitran. Second place goes to Jaffna Vigneswara College. Names of winners are Kadambari Krishnadasan, Logasini Shivel Murukraj, Santusha Santira Kumar, Puvanethuram Sarmilan, and Ravichandran Pratap. And third place goes to Jaffna Chavakacheri Hindu College. Names of the winners are Manoranjan Kobidan, Abhisan Shivaranjan, Subramaniam Logidan, Mathushan Ravindran, Santalingam Kugapuran. Inter-University Chemistry Quiz Competition. First place goes to University of Kelaniya. Names of the winners are EACP Eduri Singha, RPGAP Rajapaksha, PGYW Veerasekara, and BS Vaniyarachi. Second place goes to Institute of Chemistry, Ceylon. Names of the winners are Dilhan M. Jayasinghe, MRMIA Ratnayaka, Nikatit Senaviratna, and A. Nisali N. Mendes. And third place goes to University of Rohuna. Names of the winners are NVM Dilhani, KVYK Madhushan, MHTS Anuradha, and HKID Jayampati. Inter-University Poster Competition, Theme A, Chemistry of Marine Pollution. First place goes to University of Peradeniya. Names of the winners are KMSS Kiridana, BKR Olivia Rodrigo, BMCS Bannaheka, and RMH Ratnayaka. Inter-University Poster Competition, Theme B, Chemistry in Combating COVID-19. First place goes to Institute of Chemistry, Ceylon. Name of the winners are Kusalvin Dabre, SSS De Silva, Ashen Sarangamuga, Hasindi Lakuge, and Lakshini Vanigasuriya. Inter-University Poster Competition, Theme C, Smart Materials in Therapeutics. First place goes to University of Rohuna. Names of the winners are SAV Pulsari, KE Rupasingha, WHR Jayavaruni, AHMHM Vikramaratna, and WGS Sandamini. Inter-University Undergraduate Thesis Competition in Chemical Sciences. First place goes to F. Rizana Aziz. Title of the thesis is Microwave Assisted One-Pot multi-component synthesis of indole-derived fluorometric probe for detection of cobalt ions, University of Sri Jawadanapura. Second place goes to MVJT Marvel. Title of the thesis is A Study on the Fluorescence Behavior of 1,10 phenolphthalein and 5-nitro-1,10 phenolphthalein in the determination of iron. A study on the fluorescence behavior of 1,10 phenolphthalein and 5-nitro-1,10 phenolphthalein, University of Colombo. And third place goes to WAS Nelmini. Title of the thesis is Development and Characterization of Biodegradable Edible Film Based on Cassava Starch, University of Ruhuna. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor of announcing the names of awardees selected by the Section E1, Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science. W.G. Gunaratna Memorial Award goes to HMMA Bandara of Central College, Kulayapitiya. Physical Science Awards. The award for the discipline of physics goes to Mr. O.W.D. Samita Sanjuka of University of Peradeniya. Title of the project is Non-Destructive Ultrasonic Method for Defect Detection in Wooden Rafters. The award for the discipline of mathematics goes to Ms. Isuri U. Amaravikrama of University of Sri Jawadanapura. Title of the project is Identifying Posture Errors in Kandian Dancing Using Discrete Fourier Transform. The award for the discipline of statistics goes to Ms. Seka D. Daluwatumulla of University of Colombo. Title of the project is Functional Data Analysis of Circadian Rhythms in Core Body Temperature. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Mahesh. Ladies and gentlemen, my next pleasant task is to introduce our guest of honor, who is indeed no stranger to SLAAS. Dr. Rohan Palewatha is an attorney at law by profession and an entrepreneur creating the highest foreign income to Sri Lanka as a single entrepreneur. He is the executive chairman of Lanka Harness Private Limited, which produces electronic impact sensors to activate the airbags of the most sophisticated cars in the world. I will now call upon Dr. Palewatha to deliver his address at the 77th Inauguration Ceremony of the Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science.
General President, members of the head table, today's chief guest, Professor Kapila. Usually, I start with the guitar, but today when I look around, almost everyone has attended one or two of my sessions. So I thought it would be too cliche to start today's session also with a song. Nevertheless, as Professor Kapila said, even a simple innovation can make a huge change. Because the observation that I made as a school child, and coupled with perseverance, of course, is now bringing in about $80 million annually to the country. And also, do not fear about that it may be copied, because my product, I started by supplying to Japan, but today I'm supplying to 17 different countries, including India and China. If it is easy to copy, because I have been doing this for the past 2 decades, then I would have had competitors in the region. But to date, I'm proud to say that I am in a virtual blue ocean in the region. And it is always easy to copy. If you are determined, you can copy the end product, of course, putting all your energy, resources, knowledge, everything, and you can create the identical product if you want to. But when you go for mass production is the issue, because the quality is embedded in the process, not in the end product alone. It is easy to copy a product, but it is always difficult to copy a process. And mind you, the quality requirement that I maintain is 1 ppm quality. 1 part per million is the defect tolerance rate. And that is the highest level of quality anywhere in the world. There is no quality beyond that. I'm from Gampaha, from a village called Urutota. And my employees are from the vicinity, Giridhara, Pugada, and likewise villages. And it is with these Sri Lankans, lads and lasses from Sri Lankan villages, that I have managed to achieve 1 ppm quality. Not only that I have managed to achieve 1 ppm quality, with them I have managed to sustain this quality for the past 2 decades. Because, as you know, for the impact, the airbag must come out. It cannot fail. So that is why this stringent quality is in place. If the airbag does not come out, you may not have the occasion to rectify it. So when I embarked on this, as I always say, I was told by many that with the existing work ethic of this country and the mindset of the Sri Lankans, that this wouldn't be possible. This level of quality will not be able to achieve in Sri Lanka. But looking at all the great monuments built by our ancestors almost 2,000 years ago, and the precision work that they had undertaken, like the Diya Beduma, I thought that this DNA must be somewhere in our people. I believed that I could rekindle this DNA provided the right leadership, and here I am. And I have been, even in the morning, I addressed a similar forum, and I was kind of held in high esteem as a Sri Lankan entrepreneur. I have received all due respect from the community. But then, there comes a time in life that you question the bigger purpose of life. I was well settled. I am well settled. But I thought, is this my forte? Does it end here? Build up a conglomerate? Employs thousands of people? Of course, that is good. Bring in foreign revenue to the country? Does it end there? My conscience did not let me stop there. So then I took this decision to contest for the presidency of this country. All hell broke loose once I so decided. This entrepreneur, this great man who introduced 1 ppm quality to Sri Lanka, all of a sudden became a non-entity. He was reduced to zero by the social media. All lies and perfidy came up. But then, my intentions were bona fide. I thought that if professionals like us do not come forward and set an example, forever we will have to remain in this morass. So as a gesture, of course, I knew what the result is going to be once the people polarize between the main parties. People said, in vain, your reputation as an entrepreneur. But it doesn't matter to me, because as much as I was passionate about accomplishing my corporate dream of doing the impact sensor here in Sri Lanka, because as you know, a vehicle comes into being by about 17,000 components coming together if it's a standard vehicle. A luxury vehicle, about 34,000 components coming together. And there is what is called, of course, they do outsource to other countries certain components. But there is what is called the critical component list. And the impact sensor for the airbag is in the critical component list. So whenever I travel to Japan and try to convince them, they said, whatever that is in the critical component list, we shall never ever impart to any other country, because the function of these devices are so bonded with our brand name, and we do not want to take a risk. But then, having received that negative answer, with 46 visits to Japan, I managed to crack and enter. And as I said, once establishing this, passionate, because what drives me, it's not that I just want to do it. I was passionate about doing it. Passion is the difference. Because in Japan, we have what is called the salary man's mentality. You are just, what motivates you is what you get at the end of the month. That is good. You can lead a mediocre life. But if you want to get into the next level of life, you've got to be passionate in whatever you do. When I read the central bank report, which was out in April this year, we are a 80 billion US dollar economy, around 80 billion US dollars. And the contribution by the agriculture sector is 6.37. That is around 5 billion US dollars. So if you take the four broad factors of economics, it's labor, land, capital, and entrepreneurship. It is the improvement of quality and quantity of these main four factors that is called economic development. Now let us see, in order to create a value of 5 billion US dollars to the economy, what are the resources that we utilize? In Sri Lanka, we have 5.2 million households, out of which 2.1 million households' main income is from agriculture. And there are 8.4 million people living in these 2.1 million households. And the land mass that they utilize for agriculture in the country is 45% of our land mass. So almost half of our land, more than 1/3 of our population, creates a value of only 5 billion US dollars. Unless we make a structural change there, we will never ever move forward an inch as a country. When I came out in 2019, of course I declared my candidacy as early as in 2016, I brought to the attention of the authorities the debt trap that we were going to get into. And people were laughing at me. But today, unfortunately, what I told then, we are now in that predicament. I'm not happy. I'm not happy that, okay, I was a prophet, I told this is going to happen. No, I'm not going to boast about that. But this is our country at the end of the day. But now I'm telling you, because as a leader, you have to, because we spend a life of, reflective life. Reactive life. We react to things, we react to what we see on news, we react to what we see on social media, we react when we, have a conversation. So when do we have time to reflect? I do find time every day at the end of the day before I sleep. At least I spend 1 hour with myself. And this gives me to reflect. And it is not good enough to say everything is not, in the best way that it should be in the country. You should always try to work your mind towards a solution. So as I said, there is a huge quagmire there at the economic structure of this country. So what is the solution that I have conceived in my mind? This might be a very simple and straightforward solution. But sometimes overthinking misses a simple answer. If you take the 2.1 million households whose main income is from agriculture, if you take the statistics from the Census Department, every household has a youth between 18 to 35. So there are 2.1 million youth living in these houses. I suggest that we provide all these 2.1 million people foreign placements. I have done a pilot project. I have sent more than 300 people to Japan. And I have, of course, before sending them, I recruit them to my organization and take them through a training process. And of course, there is a process of acculturation also taking place. And I tell them, inculcate certain values, and tell them, when you remit money back to your families, don't use illegal means. Remit it through the bank system unless the country is not going to benefit. And I do monitor, my office monitors their remittances. In the average, each person is sending their families 150,000 rupees a month. So if we can find placements, especially for these youth in the agriculture sector, if they can remit at least 100,000 to their families, because remember, if you go to Polonnaruwa or Anuradhapura and meet these farmers face to face and talk to them, their issues and problems are around 25,000 to 50,000 if you quantify them. That is why all these microcredit organizations are thriving there. So if a family member is able to send them 100,000 rupees, that is going to change their life forever. And that is going to change the destiny of this country forever. This might, as I said, might look very simple and straightforward. But I believe now, as much as I was passionate in accomplishing what I wanted in my corporate life, now I'm passionate about achieving this task for Sri Lanka. Because in my mind, I have conceived right now, this is the only quick fix solution that we can think of. Because although we boast of an economy of 4,000 per capita, this agriculture sector households, they're less than even 1,000 per capita, unfortunately. There's a huge income distribution disparity in the country. So, unless we address that, whatever we may try to do, we will not progress. And when finding foreign placements, that is where organizations such as yours, SLAAS, becomes very important. Because we need a skills upgrade. I'm rather comfortable and I feel rather relieved that we have a person in the caliber of Professor Kapila in the driving seat to inculcate and take innovation forward in this country. Because innovation is no more a choice. It is a must in any organization, in a country. So therefore, I thought I will share this vision with you, because when you have a vision, you have to communicate it. And I'm sure, because people say first you have to try and change the attitudes of the people. But remember, when people are poor, their anger, jealousy, all these things are tied with poverty. The moment you put money in their hands, they will start coming out of those jealousies and anger. When I was baselessly accused of so many things when I declared my candidacy, you might wonder, how did I feel? Did I build any animosity? No, I did not. Because leaders cannot have animosity. They have to be compassionate towards the society. Even my original decision to contest was out of compassion, because people don't deserve to suffer in this country. They don't deserve. So when Nelson Mandela was imprisoned for 27 years, when he came out, he did not retaliate with the people who put him behind bars. It was the other way around. He invited the very people, the Botha government, to join hands with him, the very people who were responsible in putting him behind bars. You and I, not for 27 years, but for 27 minutes, had anyone put us behind bars, our mind would have been working overtime to draw the retaliatory plan. But Nelson Mandela didn't do that, and that is leadership. So, as I said, my father was rather, I can call him a scientist. Although I, of course, studied in the arts stream. He never, pushed me to be what he is. That was his forte. And he got his all life and science magazines always from UK, all the magazines. He was well updated. He's a very knowledgeable person. And when he had such a flair with electronics, I asked him, what made you, take into electronics with such passion? He said all these kits, assembly kits, and the experiment kits that they had in the market where they could purchase, and they could assemble a receiver, simple receiver, FM receiver, AM receiver, and so on. They were doing that when they were 7, 8 years. But today, we have a dearth of such kits in the market. And I'm happy, 2 ladies from the, doctors from the SLAAS, they came and spoke to me regarding this very concept of making these kits available to children. And in my little capacity, I managed to support them. I think it is being seen the light of day, which I'm happy. So this foundation has so much to do in, we can go hand in hand in achieving the mission that I have for this country. There is a thick carapace of insensibility and hopelessness that has grown over the collective psyche of the nation. To induce the necessary catharsis to this situation is the responsibility of any socially relevant leader, organization. I think SLAAS is aptly addressing this task. Thank you very much for inviting me today.
Thank you very much, Dr. Palevatta, for that thought-provoking address. And next on our agenda is the launching of the Little Scientist, a toolkit carrying various exciting do-it-yourself experiments for young children. Conceptualized by Section E2 Committee of SLAAS in 2019 and subsequently backed by committees thereafter, it has been a collective effort to ignite interest in young minds. SLAAS is thankful to the inventors for handing over the proprietary rights to SLAAS and also to Professor Ajit Dialvis for the tremendous encouragement and support. We are especially grateful to Dr. Palevatta for his generosity. I now call upon the General President of SLAAS, Professor Sumedha Jayanethy, to launch this product by handing over 2 science kits to our chief guest, Professor Kapila C.K. Pereira, and to our guest of honor, Dr. Rohan Palevatta. Thank you very much. Simultaneously from the audience, the Section E2 committee members will launch the web portal. So it's now available for the general public to buy this product. And it is the hope of Section E2 that through the profits, we would be able to sponsor kits to children in remote areas of Sri Lanka as our give back to society. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now move on to present the next set of awards. And it is indeed a pleasure for me to read out the list of awardees for Section D. Life and Earth Sciences Awards by Section D. The first prize goes out to MASU Piyatissa for research carried out under the title of Genome-Wide Identification and Analysis of Late Embryogenesis Abundant Genes in Musa acuminata. And this work was carried out at the Department of Plant Sciences of the University of Colombo. The second prize goes out to KTHPAI Piris for work done under the title of DPA-based novel NNN donor ligands with pendant peptidyl groups having different chain lengths and their platinum complexes towards potent anti-cancer applications. And this work was carried out at the Department of Chemistry, University of Sri Jayawardhanapura. And next, ladies and gentlemen, I will move on to read out the list of awardees for Section C. The Manamperi Award under individual category is presented to MDR Naomi for work done under the title of Determination of Wind Power Penetration Potential for Sri Lankan Power Systems. This work was carried out at the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering of the Open University of Sri Lanka. The Merit Award under individual category is awarded to AAHV Athauda for work done under the title of Improved Passive Autofocusing using Focus Value Patterns. And this work was carried out at the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering of the Open University of Sri Lanka. Unfortunately, the Manamperi Award under the group category is not awarded. However, there's a Merit Award under the group category, and the team leaders are WHSC Prabhashana and SMU Miga Swatha for work done under the title of IoT-based portable emission measurement system, and this work was carried out at the Department of Electrical and Electronic Engineering of the University of Jaffna. And the Environment Committee awards are not awarded. Professor Valentine Basnaika Awards is not awarded. And that concludes the second list of SLAAS awards. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the General President's address. As SLAAS celebrates 77 glorious years, it has reaped the maximum benefit of technological advances to reach virtual audiences all over the world, and also managed to carry out a good number of physical activities. SLAAS has been undeterred because it is steadfastly led by its General President, Senior Professor Sumedha Jayanethhi, who is also the founder dean of the Faculty of Technology of the University of Colombo. It is with immense pleasure that I now call upon the 80th General President of the Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science, Professor Sumedha Jayanethhi, to the podium to deliver his address.
Thank you so much, Professor Teshini Pereira. Chief guest, Professor Kapila Pereira, guest of honor, Dr. Rohan Pallavath, General President-elect, Professor Manoj Veerasinghe, General Secretaries, past General Presidents, Dr. Henry Troop, distinguished invitees, ladies and gentlemen. I would start with the same slides I showed some of you at the induction ceremony, starting with the vision of SLAAS, that is to be a scientifically advanced nation, and its mission to promote, support, and foster scientific endeavor and technological innovation in an ethical, humane, and sustainable manner for the benefit of the people of Sri Lanka. As we know, science, technology, and innovation each represents a successively larger category of activities which are distinct but highly interdependent. Science can be defined as the systematic study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world and of society, social sciences coming up, through observation and experiment by which new knowledge can be generated or created. Technology can be defined as the application of scientific knowledge for practical purposes by means of developing techniques that leads to product, process, or a service applicable in the society. And innovation, the key word, can be defined as an outcome deriving the benefits from a new or significantly improved product, a process, or a service, and become a driver of economic growth and a source of competition in the market. The triplet, science, technology, and innovation, we call it STI, is considered an integrated life cycle where science leads to new technologies from which innovations develop. Innovations in turn can change and influence the development of science and bring in new technologies for the benefit of the society. Developments in STI have gone through a number of time-dependent revolutionary phases in the society, dating back to 1700s. The first industrial revolution, during which the biggest changes came in the industries in the form of mechanization, marked by inventions such as the steam engine. The second industrial revolution, during which the emergence of new sources of energy, electricity, gas, and oil took place, leading to inventions such as the internal combustion engine. The third industrial revolution, which saw the rise in electronics, telecommunications, and computers, opening the doors to space, expeditions, and research, creating an era of a highest level of automation. And the fourth industrial revolution, a phase that we are currently going through, is an internet-based virtual reality world in which the boundaries of the physical, digital, and biological worlds overlap. Our society has become a part of these evolutionary phases, and as scientists, we have been sharing the advancement of knowledge during our formal teaching and creating new knowledge through research at universities and other research organizations. Terms such as nanotechnology, biotechnology, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, augmented reality, Internet of Things, and robotics have become a part of our current lives, as well as a part of our teaching and research. Along with teaching and research, stakeholder awareness, as well as identification and implementation of appropriate policy changes in science and technology are key to keeping the STI cycle active and alive to contribute to economic and social progression. In general, leading economics in the world are the countries showing high innovation index, as our chief guest, Professor Kapilakera, mentioned, and now I can show you some data now. You can see that all the developed nations in different regions have the highest innovation index. Now in our region, we have India, Kazakhstan, and Iran. Obviously, we can see US and other parts of the world having leaders, economic leaders. Now, in this context, I think we have to look at Sri Lanka also. We can understand that we cannot go to that level that soon, but at the same time, we have to find our place. And I think Professor Kapila Pereira again mentioned where we are in terms of the innovation index. Now I can show you the latest data. I want to give him an update. As of last year, we were at 101. That was the index that we have gone up to 95. That is our index at the moment. Now I have put in this table 3 other countries, of course, the neighboring country, India, which has a very high innovation index as an economic power in the region, then Bangladesh, and also Vietnam, which is a rapidly emerging economy. Now, what contributes to these numbers here, those you can see in the rest of the table. To my surprise, I noticed that in terms of infrastructure, we are doing better compared to the other 3 countries. So what are the other factors that has brought this number down, I would say, to 95 compared to India or Vietnam? We can see that human capacity and research, knowledge and tech outputs, creative outputs, all these are related to science, technology, and innovation. So that is, I think, what we have to discuss, and I'm going to basically address those during this presentation. Now, we know that the conversion of research and research findings into technologies and innovations is a challenging task and requires attention. Increasing social pressure dictates us to translate our research to products and services. However, it is well known that not all knowledge generated through research leads to innovations. Nevertheless, for the basis for innovations to be formed, a strong culture of research is required. Although our research findings through applied research should be effectively translated and commercialized where possible, fundamental research should not be forgotten, but encouraged. As an example, in the quest to find the fundamental particles by the physicists at CERN, a large accelerator facility drawing scientists from all around the world, Sir Tim Berners-Lee, a British computer scientist, created the internet-based World Wide Web for information sharing within the laboratory, which is considered to be one of the greatest inventions of all time. On the other hand, our focus must not only be on research in the 4th industrial revolution. Attention must be focused on national issues where solutions can be found through technological innovations emanating from research. In a strong culture of research, solutions to such problems can become a reality. Then I want to mention something about dissemination of research knowledge also. The dissemination of research findings in scholarly journals is another aspect of strong research culture. Increase in the use of web-based and computational technologies and other trends in research cultures have had a profound impact on the dissemination of research findings. The last 2 decades have seen a majority of scholarly journals move online. Simultaneously, the emergence of a significant number of predatory journals has affected the quality of good research. In particular, predatory publishers target young researchers, inexperienced in the process of publishing, by bombarding them with emails with requests to publish their work in such journals while cunningly flattering them by praising their previous work. Those who seek to increase their visibility, receive research funding, and other career incentives could easily become vulnerable to such requests by predatory publishers. In order to maintain a strong culture of research, adequate guidelines should be in place for authors to refrain from publishing their research findings in predatory journals. There are many peer-reviewed citation indexed journals in which quality research work could be published. As an example, the Scimago Journal ranking list, an established list of journals covering more than 30,000, in fact, close to 33,000 peer-reviewed citation index journals in different disciplines can be used as a guide when selecting journals to publish research findings. It covers all the disciplines. Medicine dominates, and STEM has a good place. Social sciences has a large percentage, which again cut across all the fields, but we can find so many journals in which we can publish quality research work. The source also includes some of our journals, such as the Journal of National Science Foundation, Sri Lanka, and Sri Lanka Journal of Social Sciences. A high research output emanating from a culture of strong research and the subsequent publication of research findings in high-quality journals would not only elevate the reputation of authors and author affiliations, but also create opportunities to improve the quality of other peer-reviewed Sri Lankan journals in science and technology. We have a responsibility to improve the level of the journal published by SLAAS also. Then I want to go to the next topic, that is the research and development, R&D. As mentioned previously, from the knowledge generated through research, only a relatively small percentage leads to innovation or has an immediate impact. This is reflected by the evaluation processes being practiced by international university ranking bodies. As you know, normally these university ranking bodies give a higher weightage to citations, quality of staff, student to staff ratio, and so on. The ability to convert these research findings to innovations is considered seriously, but they know that all the knowledge will not give rise to innovations immediately or will not create an impact. Despite how little is converted into innovations, most of these innovative outcomes can be developed into products, processes, or services through research and development, R&D, this word. R&D is widely recognized to be the cornerstone of technological advancement, and levels and rates of growth of R&D expenditures are viewed as reliable indicators of innovative capacity. Companies in highly developed nations often have their own R&D units. In Sri Lanka, organizations such as the Industrial Technology Institute, that is ITI, and Sri Lanka Institute of Nanotechnology, SLINTech, have played a significant role in promoting R&D work, and recent times I have seen universities taking initiatives to establish R&D units in order to facilitate university-industry partnerships. despite the risks associated with some R&D projects, as they may not lead to immediate profits, the private sector, I want to look at Dr. Rohan Pallavatta here, investment in R&D is important for maintaining a strong STI culture. Then comes the awareness, another important factor. A strong culture of research and innovation has the potential to thrive in a scientifically literate society, where all stakeholders would be made aware of the current and future challenges in science and technology at national and global levels. In particular, promoting scientific literacy among the younger generation would help build leaders who could face the anticipated challenges and issues ranging from climate change, environment, food security to cyber security. SLAAS has played a leading role in conducting a number of science and technology related programs to students receiving science education at school and tertiary levels. Through these programs, their problem solving, collaborative and leadership skills have been enhanced as well. Sri Lanka has a culture of tuition for almost half a century for preparing students to gain entry to the state university system through the highly competitive GCE advanced level examination. Expansion of the state university system, emergence of non-state higher education institutes, study opportunities at vocational training institutes, opportunities to receive ICT education at other non-state institutes, etc., have given more flexibility to students seeking to further their education to select study programs of their choice, while reducing the degree of competitiveness at school level to gain entry to state universities. Such an environment provides an opportunity to introduce a culture of innovation at school level effectively. Over the years, SLAAS has been involved with promoting innovative thinking among children, I mean school children, at school level by introducing programs such as the School Inventors Competition, a nationwide program which was successfully conducted annually until the onset of the COVID pandemic. We missed it last 2 years, this year and the last year. Strengthening such activities will pave the way to create an innovative culture among the youth of the country. In addition to that, with convergent thinking across disciplines, creativity, and collaborations, SLAAS has been able to reach the other tiers of society through numerous activities. I need to go backward. Yeah, right. Yeah. So this year, statutory committees, sections of SLAAS, and other committees of SLAAS, in collaboration with universities, other scientific and professional bodies, on some occasions, including the Ministry of Education, conducted more than 300 activities in the form of workshops, seminars, panel discussions, community outreach programs, educational and skills development programs, quiz and thesis competitions, electronic media programs, and articles in print media, all falling in line with the mission of SLAAS. I can show you some of them just for your information. So many activities: vertical farming, agriculture, about patents, then artificial intelligence, then renewable energies, so many activities jointly, sometimes with other organizations such as National Science Foundation, universities, and also National Academy of Science, and so on. Few more. One on the with the purple color, the tools to online teaching. That is the program that Professor Kapila Pereira mentioned. Very successful event that was conducted by SLAAS. And then quiz competitions. Those were extended to Jaffna district also. I'm very happy to say that schools from Jaffna district also participated. In fact, at the FITI conference on Wednesday, one of the keynote speakers is from University of Jaffna. Then we have so many other skills development programs like training in high-tech instruments and so on. And despite the pandemic, we managed to conduct some field events also, providing solar-powered water supply to a village school in Monaragala district, Monaragala Tissapura Athimale, Monaragala Athimale, Tissapura Kanishta Vidyalaya. It is not only providing solar power, it inspires the kids of that school, and they can learn how electricity can be generated using solar power with the help of that teacher. Then the Little Agriculturist program also, that was basically done in the Chilau district and Kegol district. Very interesting programs that inspire people and so many of them. So the sessions, now annual sessions, the flagship event of SLAAS makes the conclusion of these activities. The sessions commence with today's inauguration ceremony, followed by the theme seminar, a mini symposium on Express Pearl disaster, lessons learned, and the way forward. Then addresses by the sectional presidents, the IEEE recognized from innovation to impact conference, and a number of technical presentations highlighting the latest research findings of our scientists. I hope that the exchange of ideas and discussions during these activities and fellowship will help us succeed in promoting science and technology in Sri Lanka. With the support of collaborative and multi-stakeholder partnerships where all sectors of society have an important role to play. How can we make a stronger impact through these activities? Obviously, the need of the hour is to have a wider participation, concerted efforts with organizations, private or public, to address the national challenges and draw attention at policy-making levels to formulate an effective strategy to advance the country scientifically, technologically, and innovatively, of which SLAAS can be an active part. Now, I just want to highlight the key words here: scientific literacy, culture of research and development, then culture of innovation. We must work together as a team to enrich these cultures in our country. And then I would like to conclude my speech using two quotes. One is coming from one of our own greats, Kumar Tunga Munidasa, Aludde Notanana Jatiya Lawanonagi. A nation that does not create new things cannot rise. And I think he's an innovator in the field of languages, having formed the Hela Haula some time back. So we can create these cultures in this country. And I'm of the view that we can create a culture of innovations also in this country. And of course, the next quote is the one by Tim Berners-Lee, who invented the World Wide Web. Try it. He says that in a different context when he introduced World Wide Web, but we have to try, we must try. Thank you so much for paying your attention.
Thank you very much indeed, sir. Now we have come to the final set of awards to be presented this year, and it is my pleasure to once again invite Professor Mahesh Jayavira to read the list of awardees.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor of announcing the names of the awardees selected by the Committee for the Popularization of Science, Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science. Vidusara Vidujaya Science Quiz Prizes. First place goes to Walter Ramindu Sudasinghe of Karandiniya Central College, Galle. Second place goes to K.H.M. Adib of D.S. Senanayaka National School, Beruwala. And third place goes to W.A. Udita Erand of Vellassa National School. CPS Science Communicators Award 2020. A non-professional print award goes to Mr. E.I.P. Silva. Professional Print Award goes to Ms. T.T. Kaushani. Non-Professional Electronic Award goes to Professor K.P.S.C. Jayaratne. CPS Science Communicators Awards 2021 is not awarded for the year 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor of announcing the names of the awardees selected by the General Research Committee, Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science. JRC Postgraduate Award for Section E1 goes to Dr. Janaka Adasurya. Title of the thesis is Mode Identification of Oscillations of Delta Scuti Stars using multicolor photometry and high-resolution spectroscopy. Department of Physics, Faculty of Science, University of Colombo. Supervisors are Professor K.P.S.C. Jayaratne and Dr. Shashikaran Ganesh. JRC Postgraduate Award for Section A goes to Dr. Umayal Branavan. The title of the thesis is Genotyping Sri Lankan Women with Polycystic Ovary Syndrome towards Novel Screening Tool. Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo. Supervisors are Professor C.N. Vijayaratne, Professor W.S.S. Vijayasundara, and Professor N.V. Chandrasekharan. JRC Merit Award for Section B goes to Dr. S.A. Sachini Javadana. Title of the thesis is Prebiotic and Bioactive Properties of Sri Lankan Finger Millet, Elusina coracana L. Garten Varieties. Department of Chemistry, Faculty of Science, University of Colombo. Supervisors are Professor Chamari Hettiarachchi, Dr. Radhika Samarasekara, and Dr. Janaki Gunaratne. JRC Merit Award for Section E3 goes to Dr. S.H.P.D. Lakmini Abhayodhana. Title of the thesis is Diversity, Distribution, and Habitat Types of the Arboreal Tiger Beetles of Cincinnati colirindi of Sri Lanka, a machine learning approach for automated species identification. Department of Zoology, Faculty of Science, University of Colombo. Supervisors are Professor Chandima D. Dangal and Ms. Yasas Malabarachi. JRC Merit Award for Section E2 goes to Dr. M. L. Laurent Fernando. Title of the thesis is Kinetic Study of Hydroxyapatite Organic Hybrid System using the quartz crystal microbalance, Department of Physics, Faculty of Science, University of Colombo. Supervisors are Dr. Delshan Jayasundara, Professor Nilwala Kotegoda, Professor Sumed Jayanetty, and Professor Veranjak Karunaratna. Ladies and gentlemen, the Lifetime Award for the Excellence in Research, awarded by the General Award Committee for the year 2021, is the most prestigious award presented by the Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science. This is a lifetime achievement made in recognition of a Sri Lankan scientist who has carried out exceptionally high quality research in Sri Lanka over a significant period of time and has produced a considerable number of publications in peer-reviewed journals with high impact factors and contributed to his or her field of specialization by way of training young scientists. Ladies and gentlemen, before I announce the name of the awardee, may I cordially invite the chief guest, Professor Kapila Pereira, Secretary of the Ministry of Education, guest of honor, Dr. Rohan Pallewatha, Executive Chairman, Lanka Harness Company Limited, to come to the front of the stage. May I also request Professor Sumedha Jayanetty, President of SLAAS 2021, to accompany our chief guest and the guest of honor to the front. Please, sir, come forward. May I now call upon Professor Chamari Hettiarati, Chair of the General Research Committee 2021, to come to the podium to read out the citations of the awardee who has won this prestigious award for the year 2021.
Thank you, Professor Mahesh. Good evening to all of you. It is indeed a tremendous privilege to read this citation of General Research Committee Lifetime Award for Research Excellence 2021. So as Professor Jayavira mentioned, so this award is given for the total research contribution of the scientist who is a member of SLAAS, has carried out exceptionally high quality pioneer research in Sri Lanka over a period of time. The award winner of this prestige award in 2021, Professor Upul Sonnadara. Senior Professor Don Upul Jayasri Sonnadara is a chair professor of physics attached to the Department of Physics, University of Colombo. He received his primary and junior secondary education at Prince of Wales College, Moratul, and senior secondary education at Nalanda Mahavidyalaya, Colombo. He entered the University of Colombo in 1982 and graduated at the top of the graduating class in 1985, obtaining first-class honors in the special degree in physics program. He worked as an assistant lecturer in the Department of Physics until he received a scholarship to pursue his graduate study at the University of Pittsburgh, USA in August 1987. He completed his PhD in relativistic heavy ion physics in 1992. Professor Sonnadara worked as a postdoctoral research associate at the University of Pittsburgh from 1993 to 1995 and participated in collaborative heavy ion physics experiments at the Brookhaven National Laboratory, USA. In November 1995, he returned to Sri Lanka and joined the Department of Physics, University of Colombo, as a senior lecturer. He was promoted to the grade of professor in 2004, senior professor in 2012, and the chair professor in 2015. At present, he holds the position of the Dean of the Faculty of Science in University of Colombo. Prior to this, he served as the head of the Department of Physics, the director of the Virtual Center, University of Colombo, and the director of postgraduate studies and of undergraduate studies of the Faculty of Science. He contributed to the implementation of the credit-based course system in Faculty of Science. He also contributed towards introducing 2 new special degree programs, Engineering Physics and Computational Physics, the Master's Degree Program in Applied Electronics and External Degree Program in Electronics and Automation Technologies. His current research interests are on multidisciplinary areas with a focus on computational and instrumentation physics. He has over 175 journal publications with over 5,000 citations to his credit, the most of which are in index journal and over 150 in local international conferences and symposia through collaborative research work. He has a Google Scholar H index of 38. For his research, he was awarded several national and university awards, including CVCD Award for Most Outstanding Senior Researcher in Physical Sciences. He has contributed to 2 World Bank-funded education sector development projects and 7 development publications of World Bank. He is a life member of several professional societies in Sri Lanka, including the Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science. He is a member of CMS, the world's largest particle physics experiment conducted at the European Council for Nuclear Research, Geneva, Switzerland. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, though Professor Chamari announces a name, I have officially the honor of announcing the name of the awardee of the most prestigious award presented by the JRC Committee. JRC Lifetime Award 2021 goes to Professor Upul Sonnadara, Department of Physics, Faculty of Science, University of Colombo. May I kindly request Professor Upul Sonnadara, sir, please come on stage to receive the award now. Sirs, thank you very much. Now you can take your seats back. Dear awards winners, receiving an accolade is just a beginning of a new era in your life that opens up doors to wisdom and new frontiers for you to serve society profoundly diligently and coherently. We all witness your impeccable achievements just a while ago. There will always be opportunities for growth, improvements, and adversity in your career developments. We look forward to seeing you once again with many more merits and distinctions like what we have seen today. We congratulate you and wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Mahesh Jayavira. And before we conclude today's proceedings, I had the pleasure of inviting Professor Banuj Veerasinghe, General President-elect of SLAAS, to deliver the vote of thanks.
So we are coming to the end of this Augustus event today, and I have been vested to deliver the vote of thanks. Professor Kapila Pereira, sir, thank you very much for accepting our invitation today and your words of wisdom that's going to take us for the next year to do more and to be more productive and to support more to the education and scientific sector. Thank you so much. Dr. Rohan Pallewath, fascinating words of yours, and it's an infusion of motivation and insights to us. That's the need of the hour for this country. Thank you very much for gracing these events and your insights. Thank you so much. Our General President, Professor Sumedh Jayanthi, your leadership this year was exactly what we wanted, and the entire council which made it possible for us to take this journey this year. All the distinguished guests today and our general or the past presidents who generally grace us and advise us, all of you, please accept the sincere thanks of SLAAS for being with us today. All the members of SLAAS and definitely our staff in SLAAS. Without you, all the staff of SLAAS, we can't make this event every year and certainly this year. Thank you so much for all your support. Our sponsors for this year, Analytical Instruments Private Limited, National Science Foundation, and Mr. Dilip Algama. Your generous support actually was the mainstay for today's event and for most of the activities of this year. And thank you so much for being with us today too. And I would like to also thank all our sister organizations who sent us their own messages, encouraging us, and thank you for your messages and your encouragement. And the BMICH management and all the staff for supporting us today, and definitely Dr. Hiran and Dr. Ruan and the FOSMedia. You have been with us for last year and this year, and thank you so much for supporting us with all the support on technical aspects. And I would also need to mention Priyanka and his team for our audiovisual support that we get today. Sorry if I missed anyone personally, but this event of SLAAS annually is the major event of SLAAS, culminating of all the activities that we have done throughout the year for last 77 years. And if I missed anyone's name personally, sorry for that. But all of you who supported to make this event a success, thank you very much. And things doesn't end there. From tomorrow, we have 5 days of full activity, starting theme seminar tomorrow, whole day, then the FITI conference on Wednesday, then the scientific sessions of sections and the mini symposium on Thursday, and the presidential addresses that we are looking forward to learn from them on Friday, and the general the AGM on Saturday. So we would like all of you to be with us for next 5 days in all the deliberations that we are going to see at an end of a successful year. Thank you very much for all of those. And we are asking you to be with us for next 5 days, and the General President-elect for next year, my plea is be with us for next year and years to come. The SLAAS who have gone for 77 years now will cherish in the future. And thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Veerasinghe. Ladies and gentlemen, the inauguration ceremony is now concluded. I hope you will all join us for dinner, and thank you very much for your presence and contribution as always. Have a lovely evening.